let me show you how easy it is to brainwash people, to fake people, and to build narratives to justify what's in the charts. Because the same thing happens at the top and the same thing happens at the bottom. So let's start with November 25th, 2024, which is when Trump announced his plans to place tariffs and all that, right? So we go to the charts on November 25th. This is what SPX was doing. It kept climbing until mid-February, like 2 months, 3 months later, right? So apparently the SPX didn't care about the tariffs, right? It was all good. But I posted back in November, only one like, interesting. Posted that SPX has been building a various divergence on the weekly since April. So a few months. Let me show you here. So a few months, right? But the monthly, you can see here the divergence on the weekly, but the monthly still looked healthy, right? I posted that in 2021, the top was marked by a various divergence. And the first we had an overheated 1 month signal, the classic, overheated, and the second impulse is lower, losing steam. We can see 5.8. Okay, this was November, 1 week earlier, 1 week before the announcement. Then, fast forward to the 23rd of February, I posted that 3 months later I didn't like what I was seeing. Let me go to the first chart. It was the weekly, and the update was this various division that was building. You can see that now we are at 6K. I've already definitely lost DMA and got rejected twice. I posted that the last time that happened, the trend was over. There was too little data for that, but the weekly candle was engulfing. I'm going to show it now. And the monthly was entering dangerous territory. So if the EMA is lost, the trend is over, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. This was the engulfing candle, and I posted all this situation when we had an engulfing candle. What happened next? At least a few weeks of price coming down, right? And this was the monthly. My expectations, if this cycle is really over, or at least we have a big drawdown. Remember, we had been building a various divergence on the weekly since April until November, February in the end. A lot of time. So I posted if we have some kind of bear market kind of drop, the next potential support would be previous all-time high. It's already above 20% drop, which is considered bear market for stocks. Could be it, right? We go to the charts, and what we had was that drop into previous all-time high support. Pretty much what I posted, right? And then you can see here my post that it was looking bad at 6K, pretty much the same week that it topped, lucky. And then I posted on April, right at the bottom, by the way, that all we've seen lately with all the panic, the volatility, the catastrophic headlines, Black Monday, the Great Depression starts now after a bear market correction kind of level, right? That's when all fear appears. Apparently, anti-February tariffs weren't an issue. Suddenly, they were. It's not like the markets were already showing a lot of weakness here, right? On the weekly. No, it's just the tariffs that, by the way, 3 months earlier, they weren't an issue. Interesting. So yeah, you build the narrative that it's going to get worse. The market was already hanging by a thread, and you trigger this panic cascade. Emotions, panic. Same way, but in a kind of euphoric kind of way, will happen at the top. They will trigger euphoria, so market overreacts and overextends. Right? So this was all what ifs, speculation about tariffs, right? Isn't it interesting that it bounces back up, V-shaped recovery, when the tariffs were still being negotiated and nothing was clear? So this proves it was an overreaction. The same thing will happen at the top when it climbs back so high and then it just rolls over. The same thing will happen. And interestingly enough, all this panic, all this the Great Depression happened. Let me show you a little bit clearly here with the weekly RSI at a pretty much COVID crash level. Interesting, isn't it? In fact, I posted that the good thing about these resets is that the oscillators as they have come down pretty much at bear market bottom levels, deep correction. And but when I posted this on April 8th, we already had the wick and the bounce, and the bottom was already in. We can see the bear market bottoms level. But that's when the narrative was that it was gonna start now, the depression. Interesting, isn't it? Right? So the charts were telling that, people ignore that because as long as it goes up, who cares? And then, oh, suddenly tariffs are an issue. Interesting. So now we have this bounce, and the same people that thought the Great Depression was coming, they don't understand why we're pumping up again. So there's disbelief, right? The same thing will happen at the top when we have the first correction. Disbelief, but in a bullish way, in the sense of buy this dip because this is just a small correction. Even if it's bigger, who cares? It isn't over. Here, it was over. So people are in disbelief here. So they don't know what's going on. I don't really believe this move. By the time they do, everyone will be positioned on the same time, on the same place. And it will be very easy to tilt it just because of the weight of all people positioned on the same side. It's going to be easy to tilt it. And again, the market was hanging by a thread. They triggered it all. They got all the perfect entries on the back of narrative of the tariff narratives. It's always easy if you have to let's say, to avoid any kind of suspicion of the market being rigged. You always build a narrative. There's always some justification to justify what price is doing, right? Otherwise, it would be thought, or people would think that it is rigged, which is, by the way. But you trigger this, you get the perfect entries, and now, oh, okay, no, tariffs are negotiated. Actually, they're good for the country. Shocking, right? After they got the great entries. And now, we see BTC has stopped. For some magical reasons, because if tariffs are good, inflation is under control, you're going to have some more liquidity coming because of cuts. So what's the narrative now? Sorry. That the inflation is going to reignite, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Keep following Twitter. It's a very clean space and very, very, it's not misleading at all. We have seen that. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that it was all in the chats and pretty much nobody cared when I posted it. 3 likes, 2 likes. Nobody likes bearish tweets or warning signs, but they were there. And you don't sell, you don't have the opportunity to buy again. That's how you run trip. You wait for some kind of miracle to go back to break even, and then you will keep ignoring all the technicals, follow the narratives, and get trapped again. So yeah, this is how narratives control the inexperienced, right? Technically, you just follow the technicals. It's boring. There's no excitement on this, but this is how you are profitable. So yeah, be careful what you follow and what you pay attention to, because the machinery will work really, really hard to trap you. Be careful. Take care.